Well, hello again, nerds. This is the end of the batch. I don't know where it's getting released, but it's the end of the recording batch anyway, before I head out on vacation. So I'll see you when I return. But in the meantime, we got to do this real quick. Well, hello there, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for this reaction video. We have a couple of things to get out of the way before we can get back to said video. First and foremost, I do reactions as more of a initial analysis. So we're going to be stopping this. We're going to be talking over certain things. We're going to be replaying sections. We're going to be doing a lot of things that are not conducive to somebody who just wants to watch the original content. If you would rather watch the original content uninterrupted, then please go do that. I definitely would recommend that before you join me here on this reaction and analysis. Beyond that, I have to get my qualifications out of the way. I have been training in music since I was a little kid, which means approximately 30 years. I have been a professional musician and studio producer for about 20 of those 30 years. I have also been making, directing, and editing music videos and YouTube content for over a decade at this point. So I have a base of knowledge that lends itself to adding something constructive to this conversation. And that is exactly what this is. This is a conversation. This is my interpretation of what we are about to react to and analyze. If you have a different interpretation, that's what the comment section is for. Let's have a conversation about this thing, about why it may or may not be the greatest thing ever, whatever it is. I welcome the comments. I do request, though, that you try and be constructive with your criticism, or you at least have some sort of knowledge base to work from, because gotcha moments are not going to work in this comment section. I do have a pretty strong knowledge base and a pretty strong opinion most of the time. So all of that being said, thank you very much for joining me right now, and let's get back to your regularly scheduled reaction video. Okay, Benjamin Tod. Lost Dog Street Band. I think this is actually just Benjamin Tod by himself. But we've done a Benjamin Tod before. It was also a Gems on VHS. I appreciate both the music of Benjamin Tod as well as the channel Gems on VHS for different but similar reasons, because they are both very good at the art which they produce. Last time we did a Benjamin Tod reaction, we did not get into the history of Benjamin Tod, so let's touch on that real quick. According to Wikipedia, which we know is flawed, but is the only thing that I really have time to look for. So let's get into his wiki. At least it's very, very short, very, very, very short. So born in 1990, I am an old asshole. American singer-songwriter. He is the lead singer and guitarist for the Lost Dog Street Band with his wife Ashley May, vocals and fiddle, and Jeff Loops on bass. The band also released several albums through crowdfunding platforms, with their album Weight of a Trigger reaching number 5 on the Billboard Bluegrass album chart, which is pretty big. I mean, it's the era of streaming, so I feel like that should be higher, because he's really talented. But yeah, super short Wikipedia article. But that is the kind of the basics. He does self-publishing his music videos through Gems on VHS. It does not appear that he has anything to do with the actual production of the channel, but yeah, really talented dude. Really appreciate him. Really appreciate his music. I actually accidentally saw him live once. It's not how I heard about him. I heard about him because I got really into Tyler Childers, and when you get really into Tyler Childers, then the YouTube algorithm starts to say, hey, you might like this and you might like that, and that's how I found Benjamin Tod. But forgot the name of his band. Went and saw The Dead South, and saw that there was a band opening the show called the Lost Dog Street Band. And we're like, that sounds interesting. And then we get to the show, and out comes Benjamin Tod and his wife. We went, oh yeah, we're dumb. Okay, so it was a very pleasant surprise. It was a very great show. It was a whole hell of a lot of fun. I don't remember the name of the kid that opened. It was a solo act, and then it was Benjamin. It was Lost Dog Street Band, and then it was the legendary Shack Shakers, and then it was Dead South. And Dead South put on a hell of a show. Legendary Shack Shakers put on a pretty fun show too. Just not a big fan of theirs. And Benjamin Tod put on a much better show than I anticipated. Not the least of which because I didn't realize he was going to be there. So that's my history with the artist. Expectations of the video is, I expect the actual video production to be something that we spend a little bit of time talking about, because these guys do very good work with their video production. So I fully anticipate that. I also fully anticipate the music being very affecting and very emotional and very powerful. No real specifics as far as expectation, because it's a live performance. So, I mean, it's live performance. Recorded live, which means they probably did like a half a dozen takes at least just to get it right. But yeah, I anticipate liking it. I'll put it that way too. So we're gonna do the thing and then do the thing. Oops, wrong window. And then we push the play button.
So I've heard you say a couple times that all modern pop music can be tied to Muhlenberg County.
You got the Everly Brothers for their beautiful vocals. Kennedy Jones, the first person to ever wear a thumb pick and play a guitar. There's no denying that music's roots actually come to this spot right here. Yeah. And that's why I'm so excited you're here today.
Can you give me all I need, the innocence and purity I crave?
He has and this is going to be misconstrued, but I'm going to say it anyway. He has a very Bob Dylan-esque voice, very Bob Dylan-esque quality to his voice, in that if he were to try and go through any sort of modern music machine, Nashville, LA, or otherwise, he would not make it very far, because there is a quality to his voice that is not perfect. That would require a lot of studio work to make it sound good. I'm using these terms very loosely. To modern production, as far as like modern country production, modern pop production, anything like that. So I fully love that he said, screw that, I'm doing it myself, because without that mentality, without that punk rock ethos that he has from his early days of busking and just being homeless, and the tattoo on his neck is, when he looks at it in the mirror, it spells hobo. That's why he has the 03011 on his neck, because he was homeless for a fair amount of his life, from what I do know of his history. And it elevates his art. I think, and I said this last time we reacted to Benjamin Tod, I feel like sometimes it's to a point of making him a little more intense than I understand, than I fully grasp, that I don't even necessarily see the necessity for, but he's a very intense dude from interviews and stuff. But I don't know, maybe that adds to the mystique, because I think in spite of his simplistic delivery, he has a very simplistic playing style. His song structures are very, very A-B, A-B, A-C-B kind of stuff. But it's just, he just literally puts that on his sleeve and says, if you don't like it, look somewhere else. And that is great. That is just that more artists need to have that mentality about their music.
I've been climbing desperately to a mountaintop I haven't seen for days.
Wow, vocal chops, Benjamin, vocal chops.
I simply can't sustain coming home today.
The affectation of the accent was maybe not necessary. Maybe, I don't know.
All that's left inside of me couldn't bring an heirloom seed to bloom. I've only only kept enough to plead for something that I can't believe is true. My goodbye may not be when you choose.
Just
Coming
power.
home soon.
Simple, dynamic delivery equals power. This man can write a song, and like, he's not playing anything very difficult at all. It wouldn't, I mean, I don't finger pick really ever. I always use a pick, but I feel like after an afternoon of trying to learn this song, I could probably finger pick this. I'm definitely not the world's greatest musician by any stretch, and either is he, but that's not stopping him from making amazing stuff. Really digging the acoustics of that hall too. That sounds fantastic. This is natural reverb. So I think, where are we? We are at 151. All right. So yeah, we've got, this looks like we set this up differently. No, I'm totally remembering that wrong. But yeah, nothing crazy. Usually they hide the microphone. They'll hide the microphone so that you can't see it. And that was what I was anticipating, why we would be talking a fair amount about the video production. Is, how did they get that audio so crisp with the microphone theoretically like 10 feet away from them, 10 to 12 or 15 even feet away from them sometimes in these videos. So that was going to be part of this, but I mean, we have microphones in his face and in front of his guitar because he's at a concert hall. So are we at 51, right?
Follow me through empty streets and bridges burned for hell to heed my fate.
That's such a cool shot. Just your background is so far away, you can't help but blur it out. But also, you're not using a crazy wide lens or crazy fast lens, so that like you start to see the blur happen as it's getting away on his person as well. So I think that's a beautiful shot. A lot of the modern cinematographers and a lot of modern YouTube cinematographers will get these lenses that are just so fast. You have like a 0.9 f-stop, which is not an exaggeration. 0.95, I think, is what Tony and Chelsea Northrup use, and it just looks unnatural because the roll off starts to happen, the blur starts to happen on their being, like their eyes will be in focus, but their ear will be out of focus, and that's just too small a depth of field. So setting a shot like this is just like, that's how you blur a background. You physically separate yourself from that background. But yeah, back to the song because it's beautiful.
Never wanted you to see the evil I could never keep erased. Passion like a diamond in the slate, coming home late. Something pulls me from the clay. I can't make another day alone. I can't even speak your name. Are you just a thing to claim and hold?
Ooh, see, he's at the top of his range. He's not switching to his head voice proper. He's sitting too much in his chest. He kind of squeaked that last little note. There was a little weird little tweak there. But so good, so good.
Notarize my deed, watch me go.
Doing a lot more vocally than I've heard him do previously, and I really, really like that.
Notarize my deed, watch me go. Not coming home.
It's pretty fun to look at the names on here, and a lot of good people. Jody Fleming, he's an undertaker now.
I guess I need to sign this.
You know
You
what?
do
You
too.
probably should.
You need to.
Well, we'll sign this. You want to sign this? We'll do that. Somebody will say someday, who are these guys?
Hopefully they'll know who we are.
Hopefully they will.
Become a patron. Yeah, it looks like he does most of his stuff through Patreon. I think it's really interesting that they give you this. This is totally a YouTube thing and not related to this video directly, but I think it's interesting that they give you this play. If you look down here where my mouse is, when you mouse over the play bar, the status bar, you can see the parts of the video that get the most view. So you've got a big jump at the beginning, and then it drops real quick, and then it rises back up to higher than at the beginning. Most replayed right there. That's where the song starts, it looks like. That makes sense. And then it slowly drops, and you get to the end of the song, which is right about here. And then it basically just disappears. I think that's super interesting that they give you that information now. Yeah, great song. I got totally distracted. I was being a little nerdy there, totally distracted by nerdy things. But if you like Americana, if you like country, then Benjamin Tod and anything that he does with Lost Dog Street is absolutely something that needs to be a part of your playlist. Unless you like pop country, which is a very different animal. It's more related to Britney Spears than to Hank Williams. So, yeah, this is I strong recommend to listen to Benjamin Tod. Go listen to more Benjamin Tod. Listen to all the Benjamin Tod because it's fantastic music. That is where we're ending. This is the last of the batch, so probably the last in the release schedule too. I don't know. I might go back and forth between the ones that I liked and the ones that I didn't because that's going to be a whole lot of hate all at once. Either way, you don't need to hear that. Thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. We will return to your regularly scheduled pop culture nerdy news as soon as I'm back from vacation, which should be in a couple weeks. And yeah, thank you very much for sticking around to the end. I appreciate your faces. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.